Hey, beautiful soul. Hey, friend. I'm excited. We wrapping up our journey with the Psychic Navigator, chapter 7. And I have some positive energy for you. Okay. How you doing today? That's good. That's good. I'm drinking on this nice little tea blend I might tell you about one day. All the healing benefits it got. Other than that, I'm doing okay. So starting off, we have Pink Opal, which encourages one to be their authentic self without worry. Next, we have Rhodonite, which helps to balance emotions and calms impatience, which I'm glad I pulled because let me tell you, my week been so hectic. It almost was unreal. And I didn't even leave the house. I left the house, but I didn't leave the house. You know what I mean? So the amount of things that took place was just mind boggling. So I definitely can channel with that. And last but not least, rutilated quartz, which is the illuminator of the soul. It also cleanses the aura and draws off negative energy and disease. Okay. I'm gonna sit in my little chair and read today instead of at my desk. So bear with me a second. Tell me about how your week was as I sit and get situated. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear you still standing, as am I. Cheers to that. All right, you ready? Let's knock her out and embrace this message that's gonna help us from the inside out. Chapter 7, Psychic Tools for Life. Living the psychic life is an ongoing process of perpetual development, one of learning to trust and listen to your inner guidance. You must accept that life is your ultimate teacher and to try to live to the very best of your abilities. After all, what you do with what you have is what truly matters. And since we're all uniquely different in how we interpret signals and receive guidance, I urge you to seek your own experiences so that you acquire your own awareness. In turn, you'll be able to make up your own mind about which spiritual path you want to follow. And then you can assemble your own psychic toolbox. Intuitive or psychic information can sometimes come from out of the blue, as if it has a mind of its own. It may be the answer to a question you asked days ago. Or you could be taking a shower, drying your hair, driving to pick up the kids from school, or raking the leaves when intuitive information registers into your conscious mind. No matter how you receive it, when you follow your inner guidance, choices and decisions seem to flow smoothly. Remember how it felt to follow that hunch that you just knew was right? Well, you were probably excited and might even have felt a positive charge surge through your body as synchronicities and coincidences seem to just guide you towards your goal. On the other hand, when you ignore your inner guidance, a feeling of stagnation can occur. Life can appear to be out of sync and discordant, and you're not likely to feel that positive charge surrounding your actions. In this chapter, I want to provide you with some final techniques that you can incorporate into all your areas of your life. Once you've learned them, I'm sure that you'll go on to create more of your own. Most of them only take a few minutes, so you'll be able to tap into your abilities instantly and effortlessly, no matter where you are or what you're doing. These exercises are for times when you're not able to do a full meditation or you can't wait until conditions are perfect. They're meant to jumpstart you into using your newfound inner guidance. You can now start to navigate your own psychic path, lead a life of fullness and purpose, and show the world how amazing you really are. Decision making. Making decisions doesn't necessarily come naturally to everyone. After all, we live in a world where it's easy to get someone else to make them for us. Of course, there are some things we should just leave to the experts. But I'm talking about those determinations. But I'm talking about those determinations we're capable of making if we just tap into our inner guidance. When we make a decision based on intuition, we trust our feelings. When this happens for the first time, it's like a turning point. From that moment on, our confidence builds and we don't look back. We must acknowledge, honor, and act upon these feelings and signs that try to point us in the right direction. For example, I remember a time not too long ago when I was about to give a demonstration where the organizers were expecting a large audience. Several days before, I get a nagging feeling to call them and make sure that everything is okay, and to check that they all had the sound equipment for that evening. Instead, my rational mind kicked in and said, "No, John, they're professionals who have done this hundreds of times before. Let it go." Even though I'm a psychic medium, I don't always pay attention to everything I feel. Hey, I'm human after all. Of course, I've arrived to find that the place had a broken microphone system, a child's stool only 12 inches high for me to perch on, and no air conditioning on this muggy New England night when the temperature was still 89 degrees and the spotlight had enough juice coming from it to light up New York City. I should have honored and trusted my feelings earlier and followed through with the decision to call the organizers of this event. By doing so, I could have saved a lot of aggravation for myself and the staff who rushed around trying to fix everything. I'm sure you can identify with what I went through. In fact, you've no doubt found yourself hesitating to make decisions because you're afraid of the risks and the end result, which you've probably already imagined. I know it's scary to listen to your intuition when your logic is dragging you in the opposite direction, but fear will hold you prisoner if you let it. Remember that your intuition isn't meant to replace reason. Instead, it's meant to enhance your logic, thereby giving you a far better chance to succeed. Keep in mind that your body will tell you when you're following your intuition, and it's crucial that you interpret your own feelings when making some type of decision. Some people feel a flutter when something's wrong. Others feel a tingling sensation all over if they're on the right path, while still others feel nothing when they're not supposed to move ahead. I have a friend who uses his own simple techniques when he has to make a decision that he's not totally sure about. He takes a few moments and imagines a simple street light in front of him. He then asks the question about the decision and watches to see if the light changes. Red means stop, yellow means wait, and green means proceed. Of course, he's not really getting the answer from a traffic light, but he's using his own personal symbol to tap into his inner guidance. I also know some people who have trained themselves to imagine a yes in one hand and a no in the other. They ask a question and wait to see what hand rises, whether it's the yes hand or the no hand. But sometimes this isn't so simple. I once did a workshop where the students wrote one question that would require a yes or no response and placed it in an envelope. The envelopes were then distributed to students who didn't know those questions, who didn't know whose questions they now held in their hands. One student started to use her awareness in the exercise and came up with a definite yes, but she also saw a swinging bridge suspended over a deep valley. The student felt that the person whose question was in the envelope could achieve their goal, but it wouldn't be an easy one. They have to hang on and work through other issues as they continue to move forward toward this desired outcome. The question in the envelope was, should I move residences? The student who asked the question raised her hand and thanked the other student. She agreed that the new move for her might have been great, but what about her feelings concerning finding a new job or moving away from her family? My colleague, Lynn Robinson, who's a business consultant, teaches intuitive techniques for Fortune 500 companies and their employees. Some of these people have never worked with their sixth sense before, so they find it difficult to articulate their experience. They don't realize the rich resource of information that can assess through their intuition, that can be assessed through their intuition. Lynn teaches them to imagine the decisions and choices in front of them, one by one, from should I proceed with this project to is this the right person for the job to should I hire more staff? Then Lynn asks them to ask themselves, how do I feel about this decision? And if I make this decision, how will I feel about it 6 months or a year from now? Like me, Lynn encourages her clients to notice how their body feels. Does it feel light, heavy, or tense? Are there any colors, symbols, or words they're sensing? Then she asks them to write down what they're receiving before their rational mind starts to influence the outcome. Once the group has committed these initial feelings to paper, they have a new way to look at the information from an intuitive perspective. Lynn then finishes up by teaching everyone how to interpret the information for themselves and shows them that their future decisions can be guided for the best positive outcome if they simply just pause and ask for guidance. Remember that your psychic abilities are part of you, so use all of yourself when you feel you need a little assistance or divine guidance. You don't always have to turn over your power to someone else when it comes to making decisions. With practice, you'll learn how to interpret your own specific signs. Please begin with small decisions and choices so that you can build up your trust and confidence gradually. Have faith in your inner guidance, which is always there and waiting for you to ask it for help. It wants nothing more than the best for you. Affirmation. I remember to pause and ask before I act. I trust my divine guidance in all areas of my life. I remember to pause and ask before I act. I trust my divine guidance in all areas of my life. I remember to pause and ask before I act. I trust my divine guidance in all areas of my life. Psychometry. During my years of training, I came upon a word, psychrometry, which means measure of the soul. So many times that I decided to read whatever I could on the subject, I found out that it's practice of holding someone's personal possession and then reading it. A way of somehow seeing through touch. This is a great tool to use as you develop your awareness, as its benefits will help you reach beyond your five physical senses by turning down your conscious mind and reaching a psychic level. Remember what I've said all through this book. Everything is made up of energy. This includes your favorite ring, that old shirt you're wearing, or the chair you're sitting in right now. Think about it. Have you ever borrowed someone's shirt or sweater and noticed that it make you feel different? What's happening here is that you're picking up that person's emotions and their essence. I have a friend who uses psychrometry every time she gets a new contract or business card. She stops, holds the paper or card, and tunes in to see if she's feeling positive or negative, which helps her make the right business decision. But I've also used this technique with flowers. Just by holding a stem that someone else has held, I'm able to feel the energy that passed between the two living things. While in the UK, I attended the Arthur Finlay College, which I discussed in my first book, Born Knowing. This is where flower clairsentience was introduced to me. While in class, our instructor would arrange some flowers so that each student had Our instructor would arrange some flowers that each student had brought in a vase, although we had no idea of who brought which blossom. We then choose the one that we are most attracted to. Holding the flower, we'd use psychometry to read for the person who had brought it in. We were establishing a strong link with each other, and often with those on the other side too. It was if holding a beautiful rose was a way to open the door into another world. Exercise. Hopefully by now you've worked through all the exercises in this book and have established your psychic strengths, whether it's clairsentience, clairvoyance, or clairaudience. I want you to practice by holding something that someone else really values. It's best if you didn't know the person whose item you'll be using, since you'll want to be totally objective and keep your thoughts out of the process altogether. Now, focus on the appropriate chakra, depending on your psychic strength, while you hold the object. You don't need to grip it tightly. Just hold it lightly in your hand, in your right hand. If you're left-handed, hold it in your left hand. Keep turning it around in your hand. As the images and feelings begin to form, write down the first few things that comes to mind, but don't analyze or give your mind a chance to shoot down what you're receiving. Ask the questions as you hold the object, such as, is this person married? Do they have children? Are they happy? What do they do for a living? What advice can I give to help them right now? There's no limit to the amount of questions you can ask. Share what you received, whether it's feelings, words, images, or symbols, with the owner of the object. You might be amazed with what you received and how it translates into fact. Affirmations. I am safely beginning to develop my psychometric abilities. My hands are receptors for psychic energy. I am safely beginning to develop my psychometric abilities. My hands are receptors for psychic energy. Energy scanning. Our psychic energy is a precious resource that has the ability to help us in any given situation. Using this energy, we can learn to blend with anyone or anything. I notice this particularly when I teach my workshops. Most people walk in thinking that they don't have a psychic bone in their body. But the first thing I tell them is that we're all born knowing. I explain that they just need to experiment and reach into themselves and recover what they once knew. Next, I usually start off with a lighthearted warm-up exercise, which I ask if someone in the group who has a scar that's hidden from view to come up in front of the room. Then take the group through the exercise that follow and ask them then I take the group through the exercise that follows and ask them to see, feel, or hear where the scar is. I go around and ask them one by one where they feel the scarred area is. And amazingly, more than 75% of the class will correctly guess the right area. Yes, I'm fascinated by the fact that the other 25% feel different things. I remember with one workshop, when a student kept seeing sinus issues with the volunteer, who insisted that she didn't suffer from any problems in that area. Sure enough, a week later, the volunteer picked up a nasty sinus infection. In this case, the student sensed an energy disturbance before it actually manifested in the volunteer's body. This technique has many uses. For example, you can try scanning a highway or road for traffic before you are immersed in it. It can also assist you in determining how to get your intuitive information. For example, my student Judy uses her own form of scanning to find her husband every time they get into a department store. She stops, expands her aura, and waits to see if she's pulled to a certain area or if an image or symbol enters her mind, such as a TV, a stereo, a basketball, or a hammer. When she sees the image in her mind's eye, she goes right to the appropriate department. Medical intuitives have trained themselves with this technique to assist in sensing where blockages can occur in their patients. I believe that in the future, more psychics and intuitives will work side by side with the medical community. It's also a great tool for mothers, and I even know of people who scan used products before purchasing them. Sometimes they'll see a flaw that's not visible to their naked eye. The opportunities are endless. Try following the simple exercise so that you can put the energy scanning to practical use for yourself. Exercise. Have a friend stand in front of you, or better yet, have your friend bring someone you've never met before to see you. Stand about a foot or two apart from the other person. Close your eyes and imagine that you're both made of pure light. Then visualize your energy field blending with his. Let your awareness sweep up and down his body in long, slow movements. See if there's one particular spot where your attention is drawn. Can you see any colors, or is one part brighter than the other? Take your time and make a mental note of everything you're feeling. Now open your eyes and tell them what you've received. As always, you may want to write down your experience in your journal so that you continue to build up your visual symbols, feelings, and interpretations. Please remember that when you deliver the information, you have to take the responsibility for how you present it. I was taught that when you get an impression, you should be careful of your expressions. You don't want to scare anyone, especially if you're a beginner. By practicing this frequently, you'll soon realize that energy scanning is a tool that you can hone and use anytime. And best of all, it's quick. Affirmation. I am more than this physical body. Everyone and everything is made of energy, and we're all connected. I am more than this physical body. Everyone and everything is made of energy, and we're all connected. I am more than this physical body. Everyone and everything is made of energy, and we're all connected. Your psychic time. Here's a scenario you're probably all too familiar with. You get up, take a shower, eat breakfast, get dressed, and go off to work, all while trying to feel positive and hoping for a great day. You hit heavy traffic, or the bus or train is crowded. You remember the kids forgot their lunches, and you finally look down and realize that you're currently wearing your cup of coffee. Your stress and anxiety levels has risen to a critical levels before you even get to work. So if you don't stop, breathe, and check in with yourself, the rest of the day will most likely be crazy and leave you scrambling to catch up. And obviously, if your body and mind are stressed, it's that much harder to acknowledge and listen to your intuition. If one of my students doesn't settle for living like this, Deborah has a high-paced job, but she's always on the go. From the moment she wakes up until she gets home and kicks off her shoes, she makes important business decisions for her company and depends on her inner guidance to help with those decisions, thus ensuring that her day hums along as smoothly as possible. Every morning, before she even gets her coffee or greets her colleagues, she goes into her office, closes the door, mutes the phone, and doesn't look at her computer or email. She performs her own psychic check-in for just 10 minutes. By doing so, Deborah's able to begin her workday feeling balanced, confident, and calm. She knows what's coming up next, and she's prepared for it. Intuitive information has a better chance of getting her attention when she begins each day by simply tuning inward and taking a few minutes for herself and her intuition. The moral of this story is simple. Try to start off every day in a prepared, positive frame of mind and get connected to your inner guidance before the external world gets a hold of you. But will you give yourself the opportunity? The choice is always yours. Exercise. I recommend that you try this last exercise in the morning. Whether you do it before you go to work or you decide to do it a little earlier and practice it at the office, it is up to you. By doing this short exercise, you'll begin to build a relationship with your inner guidance, one that can be assessed when you need it, Begin by closing your eyes and taking a complete breath. Begin to relax. Let your awareness bring you back into your body. Follow your breath into its quiet place within your heart. Take a few breaths into this area and continue to relax and feel more grounded. Your body and your mind will begin to grow quieter with each breath. Next, bring your awareness into your solar plexus area and ask your intuition if there's anything specific it wants to tell you. Breathe and pause here for a moment, taking whatever comes. Now guide your awareness up to your crown chakra and ask if there's a situation that you should know about or that will be helpful for the coming day. Depending on your psychic strengths, you may receive words, symbols, or a feeling about what you need or want to know. It doesn't take long to do this exercise, and you may receive something important, something quite small, or nothing at all. At least you're honoring yourself and your inner guidance by making the commitment to listen. After a while, you'll see how your days start to flow better with a sense of guidance and enthusiasm. People around you may notice the changes and might even inquire how you seem to know what to do in any given situation. Affirmation: I am psychic. Every day and in every way, I take a moment to listen within. I am psychic. Every day and in every way, I take a moment to listen within. I am psychic. Every day and in every way, I take a moment to listen within. That is it. That is it. Let me see. He do have some recommended reads. I thought, yeah, resources. I'll give you the list of resources. So we have how to see and read the aura. Ted Andrews. Learn to Meditate Chronicle books. David Fontana. Friends of the Western Buddhist Order, Mindfulness of Breathing. Developing Intuition, New World Library. Shataki Gowan. Wheels of Life. Andonia Judith. Mediumship Made Simple, Light Publishing. Ivy Northich. The Psychic Workbook, Craig and Jane Parker Hamilton. Science of Breath, Yogi Publication Society. Yogi Ramachakra. Master Your Psychic Powers, Billy Roberts. Compass of the Soul, Lynn A. Robinson. You Are Psychic, Pete A. Sanders Jr. Auras and Chakras, Fiona Toy. Intuition at Work, James Wanless. And last but not least, Psychic Energy by Joseph J. Weed. So I thank you for joining me on this psychic journey trying to navigate through all our chakras, our intuition, the knowing of self, right? Like I stated earlier, I had a ridiculous week, and this definitely resonated with things that I need to tap into, which is why I'm taking this journey. Um, it's not just for you. So even though I'm talking to you, it's a journey that I myself is on. Um, I notice a lot of things about myself since I've been on my healing journey, and some things are still a little disconnected. So in order to stay consistent with trying to understand how I work and how I move and how I think, and sometimes I overthink. I'm just trying to share that on my journey. So I know if I need it, somebody else may need it to put the story short, right? So this is just for those that want to take the journey, that is doing it, and maybe you're not surrounded with people or friends or support that you need. So I'm your support, you my support. It's a no judgment zone. I thank you for taking the journey for yourself. Not even for me, because it's for you, right? Like, this is for me, but I'm extending it. So it's for you and you extend it. You know what I mean? Like, just to have that sense of community, because sometimes people really are alone or they really feel alone and you're not. So from the inside out, let's do this. I cannot wait to start on the new journey coming up. And I hope you join me for that. But if it's the last time we meet, I thank you. I thank you for learning about you, because the work that we do inside is going to show on the outside. And if everybody doing the individual work, then things should just start to flow. You should just start to get with the community that you're going to get with, should you be in one, right? But we all have to navigate through the world. And it's just helping to do those things little by little, practicing it now so that when you are in these situations, it's easily turned on. You know what I mean? You don't have to constantly think or wish you would have did, because now you regret some sort of action, or can't take back what you said because you already previously thought about how you would maintain your own emotions and maintain your own being, and not let others' thoughts, actions provoke you. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people really just want to get a rise out of you. And in order to navigate, and that's from anything from at the supermarket to at the gas station to in a clothing store to in a place of business to with the kids to with the parent, the grandparents, the, you know what I mean, the friends, the family. It's just not letting anybody penetrate the work that you're doing within yourself. And sometimes it's easy to get into a spot where somebody done caught you on the wrong day or at the wrong time or in the wrong moment either even. So in order to kind of move through that and learn how to navigate yourself, so that you can already see these things coming and prepare yourself, so that it's not a reaction instead of a response, right? And this is for myself. Like, so I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to myself also. So, like I said, thank you. Thank you for joining me. I hope I see you next time. Life out.